Jin's unique parry has been a subject of many debates on Tekken community. Some players regard this move as one of the best in the game, claiming that it can totally change matchups, and when it is used to its full potential, Jin becomes practically unbeatable. Well, today I present you my take on it, following it up with a complete breakdown. So let's start with frame data. The rule that you should keep in mind when you're trying to use Jin's parry is that it starts very quick and ends just as quickly, with very few active frames in between. It has a startup of around 3 frames and it does recover very quickly, so it is very hard to punish it. However, it is possible. The reason Jin's parry is unique, because normally we're used to seeing cheesy reversals in Tekken, like Asuka's reversal, that can reverse anything except elbows and knees and lows, and it's more or less the same deal with parries, kinda, except the one that Jin has. Jin's parry can parry everything, literally everything. He can parry reality, elbows, knees, whatever you got, as long as it's not a grab or a low, Jin can parry it. That makes Jin the only character in the entire game who can parry rage arts, which is kind of flashy but useless. And for the most part, that's the name of the game when it comes to the parry. How does it work? Well, if timed correctly, the move you're parrying will register as whiffed, giving you a natural opening to punish it. So this is the most important rule when it comes to utilizing it efficiently. Whatever you're parrying, the window to punish it is equal to its natural recovery on whiff. It doesn't matter if the move is plus on block, minus on block, and all that stuff is irrelevant. What matters is its recovery on whiff. Some moves like Dragunov's running 2 are mad plus on block, but they are very bad on whiff. So if you manage to parry that, you can go straight into can-cans for the full launch. However, some moves recover quickly, like Hwoarang's backlash. In those instances, you might not be able to parry it into can-cans, and you will have to parry it into something like 2-4, which is a 10 frame punisher for Jin. So, a parry that can parry everything, except basically lows and grabs. A parry that can make any move whiff, giving you an appropriate window to punish it. Sounds very good, right? Well, it kinda is and kinda isn't. I'm genuinely inclined to agree that it is a gimmick, but a very useful one. It won't change the matchup much, but in some situations it will do wonders for you. In situations when you're at heavy disadvantage, parry has its best and most common use. We know for a fact that sidestep has around 5 frames of startup, which means that you can't effectively step if you're at say -6. However, you can parry, since the parry is faster. Almost every good Jin uses that option in neutral, and since the window is super small, you are kinda sorta safe with it. Well, as safe as you can be in that situation. That being said, since the window is super short, you'll have to be really quick on parry confirmation. In those situations, your best bet is to parry into 2-4, since you don't really know what you're parrying. Just go with the fastest and sort of safest option. Or you can just do nothing. Parry into nothing, that works as well. When the parry is used like that, Jin gets a small but notable boost to his options in neutral. So far, so good. However, outside of neutral, things get a bit tricky. First of all, everybody seems to think that you can parry strings and stance conversions with Jin and launch punish them and it's super broken and stuff. Well, no. If you take Hwoarang or Steve stance transitions for example, in most cases you can't do anything there since those conversions are very fast. However, you can parry some safe strings and punish them. The problem with that is that while it is technically useful, most of these safe strings are either duckable or steppable, so in that situation it isn't really worth to go for a parry since you can just punish them normally. In other words, in most cases there is no practical use for parry when it comes to stance transitions and strings. However, in certain instances it can change the situation dramatically, allowing Jin to use a very unique option. The best example for that is while standing for 1+2 of Leo. Despite 1+2 being negative, it is actually safe due to pushback, especially against Jin, since his jabs have super short range. You can normally interrupt that streak, but it is risky. Nobody can reverse it because 1+2 is a shoulder. However, Jin can parry it. So instead of getting nothing, Jin can actually get a launch. And even if they don't finish the streak, chances are there's no way you're gonna get punished because parry has a very quick recovery. However, those situations are very rare. So, to sum it up, when it comes to neutral, the parry can be useful to cover up your ass if you're at heavy disadvantage, providing you a sort of a safer alternative to sidestepping that is normally very risky if you're at -5 or more. As far as things outside of neutral go, well, in most cases, you can't parry the annoying stance transitions, so there is no use for parry there. And against strings that you can reliably parry, there might not even be a need to do so, since you can just duck or step to punish them properly. However, in some instances, Jin's parry does wonders. You get an actual punish against Leo while standing for 1+2 string, and occasionally you can do some crazy things like parrying Hwoarang's Rage Arc. At the end of the day, it is a gimmick, and no matter how much you use it, your Jin doesn't suddenly become much better because of it. But it can save you neutral from time to time, and you get some cool options in certain situations. Now I'm calling to all Jin mains, let me know your favorite use for the parry, and feel free to suggest some tips regarding its usage. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.